Hey there, Future Fanatics. Welcome back to Futures Fanatics channel here on YouTube. Been a little while since I broadcasted. I'm going to try this with me here in this circle. And a lot of wasted page real estate. Anyway, doesn't matter. You'll never see the light of day if I... What a waste to intro to this video. I'm going to edit all that out. Maybe I won't edit all that out. I don't know. Using this new thing because I can move my face around here. You can see that right now I'm obstructing the awesome price of Bitcoin here, 38,260. Just 2 weeks after the launch of Bitcoin futures, they are down 25, 30%, maybe even a little bit more. Anyhow, tonight, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Big Slick, crude oil, and now there are some opportunities to finally trade a smaller product in the crude oil markets, and we'll get into that tonight. So I've done some other videos here on the small exchange. By the way, if you are not trading any commodities at all, whether you're new to the Futures Fanatic channel here or haven't done much in futures, by the way, if you're brand new to the channel and you end up liking this content, even with that sort of rough introduction there, please do hit the like button, turn on bell notifications, subscribe to the channel. We talk about a great vehicle for intraday trading, which is the futures markets. And tonight we're going to talk about specifically trading oil. And without a doubt, oil, crude oil, WTI as it's called, West Texas Intermediate, is an instrument that is very difficult to trade in the stock market through an ETF. There are things like USO and OIH and others, but they're really not. They don't track the price of oil very well. And then there's XLE, which is an ETF that tracks pretty much the integrated oil companies, things like Chevron and Exxon. That's not really a good reflection of oil. So the best thing to do is to get into the futures markets, learn a little bit more about them. Like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications here at Futures Fanatic. We'll try to make this market very approachable for you. And futures are the perfect, purest, best way to trade the actual oil markets. So if you think that we are at the end of oil, we thought we were at peak oil a while back, 5-10 years ago. Now the talk is, of course, within 10, 15, 20 years, maybe we will finally see a real energy revolution where there won't be any carbon-based energy sources. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but you can speculate on that using the crude oil markets. Okay, so the small exchange, which is a very small, per its name, it's also still pretty small in terms of volume, popularity, liquidity, but they are working on a lot of exciting products. Unfortunately, as soon as this product came out, the CME came out with another one. We'll talk about that in just a second. So this is called the Small Exchange Crude Oil Product. I will leave a link in the description below to this particular site. And then I'll probably even maybe zoom in on this, we'll see, so you can see it a little bit better. But essentially what this is it's a product in which it's standardized and it's really small. It's small in terms of what each tick is worth, which is only $1. So basically every penny is just $1. So right over here I have crude oil. Let me come over here and point to that. That is the crude oil price. $63.35. But if you were trading the regular current large contract that's available from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, traded actually on the NYMEX, then you would be paying $10 per tick. So every little tick here, if it goes from 37 to 38 and you're long, that's $10. So crude oil will move $2-3 a day, so that's $2,000 to $3,000. That's a lot of movement. Requires a larger account to trade that particular product. Enter now the small exchange, which has a, I won't go through all the specifications here, but basically it's 1/10 the size. So when something moves from 63, again, now I'm looking right here, 63.36 up to 63.37, then you're looking at a 1 penny move, and you're only looking at $1. So if you bought one contract, you would make $1. The other thing that's nice about, again, the futures markets, it's very easy to go long or short. So you might be bearish on the long-term or short-term opportunities in the crude oil markets, and it's really a drag to short, again, those things like OIH or XLE. It's not a real pure play. Whereas if you are bearish and think that oil is going to go down to 60 and then $50 a barrel, and you know, even, by the way, even if that happens, gas prices will still remain very high. So the correlation between the price of crude oil, which is the unrefined product that then goes into RBOB, which is the basically gasoline that most of us drive around, you'll pull your hair out trying to look for correlations in that. By the way, you can trade the gasoline contract as well if you really get into these futures markets. All right, so again, the small exchange is offering a product, as I scroll around here, that is going to allow you to trade for essentially very, very little margin and very little risk in terms of dollar amounts relative to the price of the product on a daily basis. Now, I'm going to click on this future find a broker thing here. There are a lot of futures brokers where this is currently offered. You can see all these names over here. Whenever you see Dorman, that's also that's NinjaTrader, so you could trade that at NinjaTrader. You can trade it at the small exchange itself. Let me go over here to TastyWorks and show you these smalls here. The symbol is actually SMO. Okay, the symbol is SMO. Market's closed right now, so you can't see the volume for the first. I'm making this midway through the week on the day that they launched. This product is traded about 600 to 700 contracts a day, which is it's not a lot. So give you compare that to crude oil contract traded 600,000 contracts today, and it's traded 18,000 just in what we call the Globex session, which is the 23-hour session. Not during the regular trading day, if you will. So it's still a relatively small product in terms of liquidity and in terms of its volume, but again, it's growing in popularity. And for the time being, until the small product comes out from the CME or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, it's well worth looking for. So what you want to do is sort of search for the symbol SMO. You can find this on things like Tradovate. So this is a Tradovate. I'm actually logged into a Top Step Trader data feed, but while you can't trade these products, you do get data over from Tradovate. So if you come in here and you just type in something like small, you're going to see the various small products. Now here's what's interesting. We're 2 or 3 days in, and at least for right now, I'm not able to bring up the SMO or the small product here. Okay, so if you have a live account over at Tradovate, I'm sure that it's probably available at this point. And many folks who have subscribed, liked videos, and commented have found that some of my recommendations of Tradovate have done them well. It's definitely a great broker and platform if you're just starting out, and it also connects up to TradingView. Here's Tasty again. This is their platform. So here's a chart of it. So just to give you an example in a real world scenario. So you can see market came down here, 6240s. Okay, if you bought one small exchange one contract SMO, and it went from 6250, let's say, to 6350, you'd make $100. Okay, and the bigger product that would be $1,000. And I believe I could come over here. I should have done my research beforehand. It will tell me. So look at this. The size I think is $40 to $100 in actual margin that's required. Okay, so just literally next to nothing. Look, the contract size is $6,600. So the margin might be a little bit require a little bit more than that. But you do not need $6,600 in your account to trade one of these. You could probably trade it with as little as $500 to $1,000, or even less, but you want to be properly capitalized. So that is the small exchange. That's the product. SMO is the symbol. All right. So all that being said, I was just going to do this video on the small exchange crude oil product because there wasn't one available from the big dog, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. All you had was this thing right here, the crude oil futures, which is $10 a tick, or and $1,000 a point, which again we've decided is pretty big. But then boom, literally the Monday that this came out, you got an announcement from the CME that they are also going to have essentially the same product. And while I feel for those guys over at the small exchange, I still think they're doing a lot of things right. They have other products and they standard everything at the same thing, which is $1 per pip. They happen to have created $1 per tick. They happen to have created the small crude oil product in a way that made perfect sense, but all of the others are the same way in the sense that they're just $1 per movement, which is really nice in things like the bonds. But that's for another video. So on July 12th, this Chicago Mercantile Exchange is going to launch their version of a smaller contract. There's already been one that's half the size. Again, I will put a link in the description below where you can check out this page for yourself. I've often mentioned that if you are interested at all in the futures markets and just getting started and want a great resource, you're going to want to come over to activetrader.cmegroup.com. I'll put that on the screen here, activetrader.cmegroup.com. Sign up for at least some newsletters. You'll be informed of notified of new products and how they work. So again, more than we would go into tonight, but these the web specifications here are really great. So there's going to be benefits, contract specifications, basics, a bunch of education. They usually have some videos. I have one down here. They'll usually do a few webinars to kick it off. So this one's going to be the same as the product I just showed you, and it'll look a lot the same as the micro stock indices futures, which we trade a lot, which are 1/10 the size also of the bigger contract. So the current WTI crude oil contract represents 1,000 barrels. There's a smaller one that's, the name even escapes me. It's called the QM. I almost wanted to take that off my screen for a while. This one will represent 100 barrels, and it'll be 1/10 the size. So it'll be $1 per penny move. Much more approachable, and probably will get me trading crude oil again. There's an old joke, at least I don't know where I heard this, is futures traders don't really make money in crude. They just borrow it for a little while. I found it a much more technically challenging market, but there are a lot of futures traders and very good traders that I respect that very much like the energy markets and like to trade them, as well as natural gas, as well as gasoline, RBOB, and some other things. I have just found that it was a little too squirrely for me, and I didn't get as good of a feel for it as I have for other markets. And as I'll often mention here at Futures Fanatic, you do not want to be a tourist in the futures markets. There's so much choice that actually works to the detriment of most traders. You're probably better off just learning one or two instruments, how they work, and then you can multi-instrument, multi-product down the line. In fact, even right now, as I was promoting is the wrong word, as I was discussing micro Bitcoin contract, which just came up a few weeks ago, and how excited I was and how many contracts I thought I was going to trade and how popular. I've been correct on all that. It traded almost 80,000 contracts today on only its sort of second week in existence. And there are a lot of tourists that have moved over to that product. I think eventually they'll find their way with it. It's going to be a great trading vehicle. But for it to trade all that many contracts now, there's been some volatility as well. So anyway, the point is specialize, focus. That's true for the equity markets as well. If you happen to be trading equity or Forex or even crypto, if you borrow data is a borrow data, but when you can focus your efforts, you will learn the temperament, the time of day, the movement, the flow, the feng shui of the particular instrument. And you can't do that as easily in the stock market, because if you pick one or two or three instruments, they might not trade as much as you need them to on a daily basis, whereas in the futures markets you get plenty of movement from most products. All right, let's see. I had a few other things across here that I wanted to click on. No, that was it. So basically you can't yet bring it up on Tradovate that I've been able to see, but I didn't log into my live account, so you probably could find it if you had it over there on a live account. Again, this data might be a little bit different because this is a combine over here. Check the descriptions below if you want. I'll leave a comment as well myself, where I'll put the links into the small exchange product SMO and the WTI product, which I didn't even look. Product code is going to be called MCL, so that's perfect. CL is the symbol for the regular. MCL is going to be the symbol for the micro crude, which makes perfect sense. There's an M in front of all of the micros that launched a couple years ago for the stock indice futures. All right, that'll be it for tonight. Hopefully me hanging out in this little ball over here with all of this wasted space. I'm sure many of you will recognize this as a product called Loom, so I'm trying to bust out videos a little quicker and just record them a little bit more easily than what I was doing on XSplits. So whatever, total inside baseball. You don't give two craps about my production problems. You just want the content. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notifications. It really does help this channel. And I'm beginning to have a lot of fantastic conversations with people that are being exposed to this asset class, which definitely has its strengths in terms of active intraday trading. All right, that'll be it for tonight. I'm your Futures Fanatic, reminding you to stay green and trade like you mean it. Thanks.